So if you are a Sec 3 or 4 student and you're going to take O-level soon, but you have a very busy schedule, maybe you have CCA commitments, you have leadership roles, then how do you manage your time and cope? I'm going to give you 7 tips plus 1 bonus tip at the end. Hey, Keefe here, also known as ThatBioTutor, and I help O-level pure bio students ace the subject while making their life easier. Now, tip number 7 is to stop saying yes to everything. So if you are someone very involved in your CCA, you have multiple leadership roles, chances are you are quite a people pleaser and you say yes to a lot of things. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, it can be very advantageous to you, but it's also the reason why you feel so overwhelmed with responsibilities. You have to prioritize and realize that academics is going to be a major priority in this O-level period. So you have to stop saying yes to so many projects and responsibilities. In fact, if you can, you should start shedding some responsibilities, but of course do it in a way that does not inconvenience others. In fact, you might be surprised to find that some people, or even your juniors, want to take your role and they want to experience the leadership role, so give it to them. Tip number 6 is very simple, but no one does it. It's simply to plan your day. So write down on some rough paper what your day is going to be like. So when you reach school, when do you end school, what events do you have after school like CCA or tuition, and when you're going to reach home. Then in all the in-between free time, that's where you can strategize what exactly you want to accomplish. There's this quote that 1 minute in planning saves 9 minutes in execution. So if you already have a very busy schedule, you can't afford not to plan. Tip number 5 is to do as much homework as you can in school as possible. Now I know it's called homework, but you can turn it into schoolwork. That way when you're at home, you can do the things you want, you can sit back and relax, or you could free up time for CCA and your leadership roles. The hidden benefit to this is that in school, you're already in that environment of doing work. So it's actually a lot easier for you and you would be more efficient in school. Try it yourself, you probably realize it's true. Whereas at home, you want to relax, so it's not as productive of an environment. So when do you do the homework? During recess, in between lessons, before the first lesson starts, after school before CCA, and any other spare pockets of time, just try and do all your homework as fast as possible so that when you're at home, you don't have to. Tip number 4 is also about homework, which is to finish the homework the day it's given as far as possible. The reason for this is that it's already fresh in your mind. The teacher has mentioned what to do, and usually it's related to the lesson you just had on that day. So the longer you put off the homework, the less efficient you will actually be when you finally get to it. Tip number 3 is to have 3 major tasks that you want to achieve every day. So for some of you who are more busy, maybe it's 2. For those of you who have more time, it can be 4 or even 5. So these major tasks can be things like do 1 practice paper or revise this topic for this upcoming test. Then your goal is very easy. Just finish these major tasks that you have set out for that day, and the rest of the day, you can do whatever you want. Tip number 2 is especially important for people like you who have so many commitments, which is that you need to spend time on the things that matter the most. So I was talking to one of my students recently, and she had bio homework, she had math homework, and she had this English homework, which was actually just a reflection, and it wasn't graded at all. But yet, she still spent like 45 minutes on it, even though it was only a few questions. So I admire the hard work, I admire the amount of effort that's put into it. However, we only have 24 hours in a day, and the O-level exam is not going to extend the deadline for you just because you have more work to do. So you have to get ruthless. Those things which don't actually contribute to your goal directly, especially those things which are not graded. Now, don't slack off on them. I still want you to do your homework, but you don't have to give like a 10 out of 10 quality compared to the other homeworks that actually do add up to your grades. Tip number 1 is the most important for people like you who have so many commitments, you don't have enough time. You need to ask for help. For example, you can research for answers very quickly on Google. That doesn't mean you copy your answers, but you find the information and you find the answer much faster, so you don't waste the time trying to think of it when you already know you don't have it in your head. Another thing is to quickly find out the methods for attempting questions instead of trying to invent them out yourself. So I had this other student who told me that she's constantly stuck on her math homework, and that wasted a lot of time. So my advice to her was, if you realize you don't know the method for that kind of math question, then you just stop, go to the textbook or the school notes or the worksheet, find that question type, learn the method to solving that question, then you come back and apply that method. So you might say this is cheating, but it's okay to cheat on finding out the method instead of inventing it yourself, but never cheat yourself of actually putting the method into practice. And if you are stuck on bio questions, if you're a student in my class, you can ask me questions any day, like literally any day, anytime, and I typically will reply you within 1 day. And now for our bonus tip, which is stop procrastinating. It's so obvious, but it's quite difficult. So I'm going to give you the proven strategies that have worked for me and really killed my procrastination. I made a whole video about it and you can watch it here.